What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm going to break down 5 reasons why your agency probably cannot scale past that $15,000 per month mark, and some pitfalls that you can just simply avoid, and things that you can focus on that will help you reach that next level. And for those who don't know me, I was able to scale our creative agency to $200,000 per month for multiple months in a row, scaled to 7 figures for multiple years in a row, got a studio, hired a team, all that cool stuff. The first thing that I see a lot happen is they have bad positioning, meaning they don't have a really clear offer. So when you're growing and scaling your agency, that first, $10,000 to $15,000 per month mark, likely you're just trying to get as much business as possible and say yes to everybody. You are what I like to call being a yes man or a yes woman. And that means you're saying yes to everybody. And really the mindset here is like you're in survival mode. And I get it. Like you're trying to just get as much income as possible so that you can grow, that you can get more revenue. You're more of an order taker rather than a problem solver. But this just positions you as a glorified freelancer and a glorified contractor and limits your ability to actually scale. Because what happens is you're now positioned as a freelancer that can do everything for everybody, and you're saying yes to everybody, and there's no real clear problem that you're solving. And there's no real clear problem that you can then delegate to somebody else. So my point here is have a clear offer on a clear problem that you're solving, okay? If you don't have a niche, if you don't have an offer or at least an entry point offer for that specific niche, and you're not actively prospecting on one specific niche and actively looking to work with one specific niche, you are going to be bottlenecked. You're not going to be able to scale. You're not going to be able to delegate because it's going to be too confusing because everything is going to be revolving around your unique skill sets. So if this sounds like you, focus on having a niche and focus on having an offer. I've made a few videos in the past about this specifically, so feel free to check those out as we go more in depth with that specific topic. The second reason that you're probably not able to scale past that $15,000 per month mark is ineffective or unpredictable client acquisition. So what I mean by this is maybe you have a core group of clients that know you really well and you're working with them and you're doing all of the work, or you and your other person are doing all the work. And what happens most of the time is that people get too busy working in the business and they don't have time to work on the business, specifically with their lead generation efforts. Or they're focused on trying a bunch of different lead generation tactics, a bunch of different tools and techniques, and they're spreading themselves super thin and they're unable to master one client acquisition funnel. So if you're constantly seeking new clients, this can be expensive, this can be time consuming, this can be an absolute headache for you. And if you're just relying on word of mouth and referrals, this is not a predictable client acquisition channel. How you want to think about your client acquisition channels is literally you want something that you can turn up and turn down. So let's just say you're super busy. Okay, I need to turn the client acquisition funnel so I can go hire, work on fulfillment for a little bit. And then maybe you are ready for new clients. You have some capacity at your agency. Okay, now I need to turn that up. If you don't have a predictability here, especially early on, depending on where you are with your business, you're going to get to a point where your agency becomes very volatile. If you have team members, okay, now you lost a client, now you got to go fire people. But it's your job as a leader to have those channels that you can turn up and turn down as needed. So really the message or the lesson here is focus on one client acquisition funnel, do it really well, master to a point where you kind of have that temperature gauge or that dial that you can turn up and you can turn down as needed. What we love is cold outbound. It's a really effective way for us to be really particular of who we're reaching out to, cold email, cold SMS, and leveraging AI in order to do that, because that's something, again, that we can turn up and turn down as needed, and it's fairly cheap once it's rocking and roll. And this is the thing that we teach in Agency U quite a bit, is how to scale using outbound, because what it allows us to do is we can control who we're reaching out to and pull lists based off of specific targets and get their attention. I also do have a video on cold email setup, so if you are interested in learning more how to do that, you can find that video in my channel. So the third reason that you're probably unable to scale past that $15,000 per month mark is inefficient systems and processes. And this is probably one of the biggest things that I see with agency owners kind of in this space, where they don't have an agency operating system that their company is following. Again, that is freelancer thinking, that is independent contractor thinking. If you're just wanting to be a freelancer, that's awesome, all power to you. But if you're wanting to buy back your time, if you're wanting to get people to do things on your behalf and teach other people how to do it, you're going to need to have systems and processes in place. Without systems and processes, and if you are looking to scale past that $15,000 per month mark, you're probably going to need to hire people. And if they don't have a system or process to follow, there's going to be inconsistency when it comes to delivery. There's going to be client issues because you haven't given a system in order to actually help that client. And ultimately, there's going to be a decrease in productivity and scalability for your agency. So what you want to do as an agency owner, kind of the lesson here is you need to figure out, okay, what am I doing and how can I create a system around that? So let's just say you are a short form video agency owner, for instance. Okay, so what is the process for shooting a video? What is the process for editing a video? You basically need to take everything that's in your head, think about how you can best serve the client, what would be the best client experience and efficient experience, and then you need to document that. So we use tools like Loom and we use tools like Scribe. So these tools allow us to create standard operating procedures that we can then house in a tool like Notion, so that eventually once we're training somebody to do the video, to do the editing, they can then just refer to the Scribe or the Loom video, and that will teach them exactly your process of doing everything. So what we want to really think about with systems and processes, we need to scale your unique skill sets and how you are doing things. And then your job goes from working in the business to working on the business and being able to teach other people and help them work the systems and not have them just work all the time and just be busy and have no accountability. So get good systems and processes in place. Think about this early on. Start documenting everything that you're doing. Use a tool like Notion where you can document and store all of your systems and processes for every single task that you're doing. The fourth reason that you're probably unable to scale past that $15,000 per month mark is that you are unable to delegate and you're too busy working in the business. So if you're around that 15,000 per month mark, likely you're doing a lot of the client work and likely you don't have a huge team that can do it. But the problem is that most people will be so caught up working in the business and reactive throughout the day that they're not even beginning to think about what they can then delegate. And if you're unable to delegate, this is going to lead to you literally burning out, you feeling overwhelmed, you lacking motivation in your business because you're doing everything, and literally give you no time for strategic thinking or strategic planning or working actually on your business. So if that sounds like you, what I would do is I would block one day a week where you're working on the business and you're figuring out what you can delegate. So let's just say you're doing editing for clients or you're doing tasks that shouldn't necessarily be done by you. So what you want to do is you want to figure out, okay, what am I doing that I can then delegate and offload off my plate? What we want to think about is how much money can I generate in order to then leverage. If you're capped, if you're working, let's just say 50 hours per week, the best way to get an extra 20 hours per week back is to go hire somebody part-time. So now that 50 hours just went down to 30 hours per week. And now you can use that 30 hours to go use it to actually build your business, whether that's client acquisition, whether that's finding more stuff to delegate, whether that's servicing your clients really well or doing upsells. You need to figure out what you are currently doing in your agency and start to pick and pull things off that you can then buy back your time. You'd be super surprised about how much work you can be delegating to somebody for $5 an hour, $10 an hour, VA admin tasks that can take a lot off of your plate. So in order to get this dialed in order to get this figured out, what I would recommend doing is list out all of your agency clients and then list out literally everything that you're doing for every single client. Yes, this will take some time, but it will be beneficial. And then what you want to do is in another column, you want to have a column that says start and a column that says stop. And then what you want to do is you want to identify what do you need to stop doing in order to actually move you forward. And everything that you circle from a stop perspective, that's what you can then figure out what to delegate to somebody else and give tasks that you can then delegate to somebody else. Don't be shy to delegate. This is the best way to buy back time. Time block time specifically for delegation, specifically for working on the business. And this will free up time in order for you to actually scale. Okay, and the last reason, number 5, is inadequate talent and hiring ability. So one of the issues that we hear a lot from other agency owners is just difficulty finding talent and retaining talent. You know, people will come through, they'll turn over, it takes a lot of time to train. And hiring is really foreign because it's something that takes a lot of leadership and a lot of leadership ability. But honestly, this is probably one of the most important things that you can learn to scale to that next level. I look at talent acquisition or hiring very similar to client acquisition. What is my funnel? How am I acquiring new talent? How am I getting them excited to work at our company? So at a root level, what you need to do is you need to figure out, okay, who do I need to hire? And then secondly, you always need to have a vision at your company of where you're going that somebody can get excited about. If you were just a freelancer and you're looking for somebody to do contract roles, like somebody's not going to be excited to build with you. But if you're like, hey, I'm going to build this business, we're going to get to $100,000 per month in the next 12 months, and we're going to serve this client load, and we're going to do this type of work, and we're going to do this at the agency, and this is where we're going. And then you, as a XYZ employee, you're going to eventually be doing this. Like that's going to get somebody excited. Instead of looking at yourself as a freelancer and just a contractor and you're just looking for a subcontractor, look at yourself as a company with a vision, with a mission of where you're going, and communicate that to whoever you're hiring. And finally, just like I mentioned with the systems and processes, like you need to have a system and process for acquiring talent and onboarding them. So like what we did at our agency is we had this huge checklist. It was probably at least 100 points of step-by-step everything that we're doing when we're onboarding a team member. So you just need to take time to invest in it and invest in the team member and make sure that they're caught up. Because if you can find an A player, if you can build up an A player, then that will allow you to go do more things and have consistency across the work and consistency across your agency's work. I could go on and on about hiring, but my point here is that you need to look at hiring just like you look at client acquisition, and you need to have good systems and processes in order to onboard them. And then lastly, you need to have a vision and a mission that somebody's going to get excited about and somebody is going to want to work with you versus just saying, hey, I want you to do this task and call it good. All right, that is the 5 things that you can do at your agency to get past that $15,000 per month mark. We talked about offer, we talked about client acquisition, creating predictability there. We talked about creating systems and processes and project management tools and all that good stuff. We talked about figuring out how to delegate, figure out how to hire, and much, much more. There's a lot in here. But if you want a more specific video on one of these topics, leave a comment down below with the one that you actually want me to go deeper on, and I'd be happy to do that. And if you like the video, please give a thumbs up. And if you are an agency owner, be sure to subscribe to the channel and try to post fairly consistently educational, value-added videos that help you scale and grow. If you're at that $15,000 per month mark and you're looking to scale to $50,000 to $100,000 per month and go from being an operator working in your business to an orchestrator working on your business, feel free to check out Agency U. There's a link down below where you can learn a little bit about our consulting company where we help agency owners achieve just that. Thank you again for watching and stay tuned for the next video. Appreciate you. Cheers.